One, blast off. Hi, Dr. X, Jim Ziegler, the big-time radio announcer. I don't know where that came from. Hi, Jim Ziegler, the Alpha Dog, and we got a great broadcast for you today. One I've been looking forward to. My guest today is Erich K. Gail. Don't forget the K. Erich K. Gail, CEO of the Cardinale Group. #1 internet sales retailer in the automotive business. This is the big deal. And before I get to Erich, I'm going to go ahead and do a little housekeeping. I'll be right back. Okay, try to entertain you. I'm making this broadcast public. I'm putting it on a couple social networks. Never seen you looking so lovely as you look tonight. Never seen you shine so bright. There, oh, you got this thing working. Okay, you were amazing. All right, the audience is building up. Got it on a couple other social networks live. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, my friend, Erich Gail. Hi, Erich. How are you?
Hey, Jim. How are you? Thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it.
Oh, I'm having the best day of my entire life. Kevin O'Brien jumped right on. He's the first viewer. Kevin and I go back about 25, 30 years. Matter of fact, more than 30 years. Kevin was my Pat Ryan rep back in the old days, Erich.
Okay, very good. Yeah.
And he walked into Cardinale Motors where I was doing F&I one day, and he looked at it and said, "These numbers can't be real."
Right.
That was just before I broke the record, before I did $1,000 a retail unit. You know, I was the first F&I manager in the world to do $1,000 a retail unit, and Kevin was there to see that happen. Hey, Randy Tucker just showed up, and ladies and gentlemen, got my guest Erich Gail on. We're building up the audience. Erich, how have you been? What's been going on with you?
Well, outstanding, Jim, and thank you for asking. I would say that every day we wake and we rise and we grow because we are grateful every day for the opportunities that we're afforded. One of the most amazing gifts that I've had in the last 10 years is a statement that is very convicting. And it says that you can't be a victim and grateful at the same time. And so how poignant is that of late, where there's challenges in the market, and the truth of it is we have an opportunity to be able to get after them. We have an opportunity to be able to ask not for it to be easier, but for ourselves to be better. And we want to reach and stretch and grow every single day, mindful that the opportunities that we have, we created them prior to the day that they actually exist. They're always a byproduct of the efforts that we've put forward. And we are grateful for that, Jim. So thank you for asking.
You know, you're the #1 internet entity in the world for selling cars on the internet as a group, just incredible numbers. And the downturn is predictable. The downturn was something that shouldn't be a big surprise to anybody.
Right.
You know, I don't look for the market to bottom out 2008 style, but you know, it's a predictable cycle.
Sure.
And even when the economy is good, the car business is going to cycle down.
Sure.
Because we reach something I call saturation.
Yeah. We have to right size. We have to right size the market. Yeah. And the market will either right size for us or the economy will assist. And so the truth of it is, the challenges in the market are such that, quite frankly, in our opinion, let those challenges be someone else's. So if the market may be challenged, if the market is constricted, we're still going to sell millions of cars a year. The truth of it is, how many are we going to earn, as opposed to are we just hinging ourselves on the market? And so for the last 10 years, we've had blessings of, or I should say 9. For the last 9 years, we've had blessings of a buoyed market to where I think in many ways we've become a bit complacent. And now it's the market is challenged. What do? You know, we knew it was coming, right? So as an organization, we've spent the last decade preparing for this, understanding that we actually welcome challenges in the market because the truth of it is, it's not going to affect us, Jim. And I say that to you without arrogance, but We make a conscious management-driven decision to grow every single quarter. We don't have to grow at some phenomenal clip that sets world records. We're just not going to seed. We're not going backwards, right? If the market is up or down, we really don't care. We're going to establish our goals, and we're going to put milestones in place, and we're going to achieve them.
You know, it's amazing. I've said it so many times. There's only about 200 million licensed drivers in the United States.
Okay.
And we sold 17 million new cars and 43 million used, give or take, every year for the last how many years? Yeah. Okay. So we're shoving 60 million cars a year into a 200 million potential buyer market. Mm-hmm. When do you reach saturation where everybody that needs one, has one, wants one's got one, got two, got three? There's not enough millennials coming up to replace the dying boomers. I mean, we've reached saturation, and it's going to have to percolate for a while. But we're even in the worst years, we sold 10 million cars.
Sure. Yeah.
Somebody got that's new cars. Somebody got that business. And that's what you're saying.
Exactly.
Even
the truth of it is,
it's the worst of it.
Jim, it's earned and deserved. And that's both sides of said equation, right? If you've ridden the market for 10 years and your disciplines are soft and your accountabilities are weak, and you literally live off of the market kindness, for lack of a better word, the advantages that the market produces for you, and you're blessed with walk-in business and you have all these wonderful things, that's great. But the minute that the market constricts or it shifts and you don't have enough lines in the water, or your skills and disciplines are weak, then folks that have disciplines and have invested in their brand and are ones that auger down into their markets and into their communities and have built truly world-class in-store experiences, they're going to continue to grow. And the others will all huddle up in conference rooms around the country trying to figure out, how do we cut our way to profitability?
Let's talk about that. Number one internet sales retailer of automobiles in the world, the universe. They might sell cars on other planets. Right. Okay. You are the big dog. I mean, you are the undisputed big dog. Nobody can argue but the numbers. Now, when did Cardinale really start to make you move? When did you guys start to experience exponentially larger growth?
Well, if you remember our story, obviously we were founded in 1979. Sure. And it was through the 80s, the 90s, and midway through the 2000s that, quite frankly, we grew organically. And in 2007, and then 2008 and 2009 came, and the humility smash into the pavement really got our attention. We were insolvent. We were all but out of business. It is without question. By the grace of God.
let's slow it down a second.
Okay.
2008. Yeah. Cardinale's on the ropes. I mean, Cardinale Group is roper doping. I mean, you're trying not to wait for the bell. You know, you just and all of a sudden something happened. You took the worst of times, and what happened?
Well, when we reached our watershed moment, which was March of 2009, that's where we had to shutter 6 franchises. We had to let a few hundred associates go, and that's a truly horrifying experience to have.
Everybody else was doing it.
Yeah, but there's something to be said for accepting the responsibility of people's lives, and if it happens on your watch, it's just something, Jim, you'll just never forget. Never forget that. And so it is by the grace of God, truly, without question, that we were given a second chance, a second lease on life. And in 2010, we took full advantage of it. We were fortunate to be able to survive 08 and 09. And in 2010, we just didn't have the money to be all things to all people. You know, back in the day when it was tent sales and billboards and radio and front page and Saturday and Sunday and every possible scenario you could imagine, you threw money at everything, and it always ended up paying for itself and translated into business. But that was all the market. That was not us. We were all under the ether at that point. So 2010, we don't have any money. And we started to have to make some really hard decisions. Now, people say, wow, that took so much courage. And the truth of it is, it's correct. However, the decision was made for us. We just didn't have any money. So the courage play was, here's the internet, which was, active. But the truth of it was, I think the internet in terms of retail in 2010 was typically a broken OEM mandated website and a lot of money with third parties. That was being a digital retailer back then. And so we decided that we were going to integrate our name, our focus, our brands, the more questions that we asked as we started getting into being a digital retailer, the more questions we asked, the more we realized that company A doesn't communicate with company B. They don't get along with company C. So pretty soon we started to realize we have to manage, Jim, all these relationships. And yet everyone does their own little piece and part, and everybody sends us a bill at the end of the month. But what connects it all together? Where is it that we as the investor and the dealer are in a position to be able to win? And the more questions we asked, the more we found that that didn't exist, the more we started to create systems for ourselves. We cut away all of our dependency on third parties. We freed up.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Eric, you cut away all dependency on third parties.
Yes.
So you're not AutoTraderCars.com's biggest customers.
Correct.
You cut away your dependency on third parties. So you're self-generating the number one internet entity in the world, and you're self-generating this business?
Correct.
And
the reason for that, well, think about this for just a moment. When our teams are in positions to be able to try to do what our jobs are, regardless of whether your name's on the building or not, we're all employed to produce a return. Would you agree with that?
I agree with that.
Okay. So when you have organizations, whether it's a single store or a group, and they invest, call it $50, $60, $100,000 a month, whatever the case may be, and they are pouring in thousands of leads. We hate that word. Thousands of leads on the backs of a few people who are only ever going to sell a finite number of cars out of all those opportunities. They're drowning, Jim. And so the truth of it is, why do we have to spend so much money on the hope plan that our people get the opportunity at the right time, that we pick up the phone, that we actually do what we're supposed to do? We're big believers in less is more. We believe that if you clean the glass and give yourself the ability to see the buyers, read their inquiries, you can engage them in such a way where we're helping them finish what they've started, as opposed to trying to sell them into something. Just a completely different philosophy, completely different mindset.
Okay, so I've seen you 6, 7, 8 times. You've spoken at my Internet Battle Plan conferences, and I know you're speaking at other conferences. I've never seen you repeat the subject. I've seen you always offer new material, new ideas, new concepts. But the Cardinale group, your group, is more process driven than any group I've experienced in years. In the day when I was actively managing stores, I was one of the very few people in the world who was process driven.
Sure.
And now all of a sudden, you guys have taken it to another level. I mean, tell me about processes.
Well, like I was describing before, if we're in the business to be able to produce a return, let's start first and foremost with the types of investments that we make. Facilities and merchandising and marketing and capital and staff and associates and everything else. You start to reverse engineer that and you say, okay, if we have great inventory and if we have great merchandising and if we have a great CRM and if we have great process, then why don't we start to put into place accountabilities that say, are we doing the best with what we have? Do we need more to prop up something that we're not doing, or do we just need to be more disciplined with the opportunities that we already have? And when you actually have the courage to go there, you can see that, for example, a store that might have 1,000 leads in a month that sells 100 units a month would probably sell 150 if they had 500, because they burned through 300 or 400 of those 1,000 anyway. They never even got to them. They're so busy being busy that let's have the courage to cut those things away and start to focus on the individual steps that we're supposed to take. And then the question is, did we take it? Yes or no? And
okay,
you don't
Eric,
have
let's do two words.
All right.
Productivity and efficiency.
Okay.
Are those the two words we're talking about?
I like discipline and math, actually.
Okay, but productivity, getting the maximum result for the time you expend on a project, any project.
Sure.
Efficiency. You're not wasting your leads, rather than, or whatever you want to call them, opportunities.
We call them buyers.
Not your buyers, not wasting your buyers, your opportunities, not wasting them, but you making the most out of fewer is what you're trying to, if I'm understanding you correctly.
Exactly.
So if you have 500 and you're more efficient with the 500 than you are with 1,000, and you don't have to try to juggle all those balls.
Sure. Yep.
Okay. I think I'm following you on this.
So let's go all the way through it. So let's assume that, for example, that you did that. You cut yourself back to where you had now accountabilities into place. Okay. If you have a BDC, for example, you should allocate anywhere from 200 to say 250 opportunities per BDC agent, understanding, of course, that they're going to be the voice of the store. They're going to communicate a vision. They're going to sell their time and create an appointment. They're going to transition that to the retail department. If you have a dedicated internet department, you should be somewhere closer to 100 per person per month, all in, all done. And then as they get more skilled, you move it to 80. So you are going down, right? And mastery is 60 opportunities per person in one 30-day period, Jim, where the math says they should sell 15 to 17 units. And you're going to hear people on this broadcast right now say there is no way that's possible. But you know what the truth is?
I'm having some difficulty with it.
So let's stop and think about it. If there's a 6 or 7 week window, an elongation of when someone writes in and we engage them correctly, okay? We have one responsibility, and that is to answer their question. And then we have one opportunity, and that is to sell our time, to bring to life the car that they're looking for live in our stores. Correct? That's what we do. All right. So do I need to go through 300 of those to get down to set enough appointments to where people show, and then I provide them with an amazing in-store experience that earns the right to sell that car? Or do I get down to the place where I only have so many opportunities, which means my connection rate, this is the key metric most people don't look at, Jim. My connection rate is much higher when I know I only have a fixed number of people that are allocated to me for the month. So for example, if I had 200 leads and I'm busy being busy, Jim, and my contact rate is 50%. Let's just stop and think about that. That means I never even contacted 100 people. I just burned them. But that's real money that someone invested for an opportunity to drive to the store, and we just flat out didn't even contact them. So why have them in the first place? Take the 100, mandate a 75% contact percentage. Watch what happens when people say, I can't contact 75% of those people. Did you contact in under 10 minutes? Did you make a phone call, follow it up with an email, opt in for text? Were you following a particular cadence from the moment they first wrote in? And did you stay with them? And when you really stop and look,
Eric,
Yeah.
Eric, I can't tell you. I've been in 1,000 showrooms. I got to tell you. Did you contact them? Well, I left a message.
Exactly.
I left a message.
Yeah.
I will backslap somebody that I left a message. Did you try to recontact them? Well, I left a message. They haven't called me back. No, they're not going to call you back. They don't do it. People habitually don't call you back.
Right.
You've got to pursue it. I'm more interested in where you get these people. Where do you get these opportunities, these buyers? Where are you finding these people? Because you're not using the so-called lead providers. Okay, right. Where are you getting these people?
Well, people leave telltale signs, and as things like social media and Facebook becomes far more popular, where you have the ability to be able to see and in granularity be able to get down to the right message to an individual based on things that you have in inventory, it's possible to be able to get out in front of people who've expressed a light interest in something, but then you put a relevant message right in front of their face and allow them to then take the next step. And when they do that, you're no longer in the leads business. You're in the buyer business. And the truth of it is, if we treat people as the way they are, which is a buyer, and stop treating people like leads that are subjective to, well, this was a good one, or this was a bad one, or I don't like this source, or I don't like that. Who gets to make that decision? Because someone invested real money into those opportunities, and we inside the stores should be responsible to deliver on a return. And it starts first and foremost with a high contact rate. High contact rate, absolutely yes.
Amazingly enough, I'm listening to you, and what just occurred to me now, managing dealerships in the pre-internet era, my focus with my sales department was when my salespeople had more than 3 customers in front of them a day.
Yeah.
I didn't have enough salespeople.
Correct.
And I was allotting my people 3 opportunities a day. And when they started waiting on 5 and 6 people a day, I needed more sales professionals.
Right.
So that equates to 75 opportunities a month per salesperson, the way I was managing dealerships.
Sure.
Now you're saying 60 opportunities.
22 working day month.
Right.
See how that math?
Your math just equated to bringing it into the technology age back when I was doing it on the Rolodex and 10 key days.
Yeah.
Nothing's changed.
Correct.
I mean, that's in some of my early textbooks. I've got that in writing. When your salespeople start catching more than 3 ups a day, you need more salespeople.
Correct. Well, and so here's the other one too, is so organizations have a number of different models. You have organizations that will take opportunities and phone calls and form fills and chats, and they'll round robin them throughout the entire store. That's one scenario. You have a dedicated internet sales department. That's another scenario. Mm-hmm. And then you have the BDC. And the BDC, whether people prescribe to it or not, is one that is a gift. If an owner or an owner group happens to invest in a BDC, to where let's stop and think about this for a moment, Jim. Okay? We're a retail sales associate. The owner or owner group is going to invest money into bringing opportunities into our store. Okay, great. They're also going to invest in professionals who will be more skilled than we are at the initial back and forth to then create appointments that at this point are going to find their way to me. What have I done at this point to do anything to earn or deserve any of that business? I haven't. So then that now is an opportunity for us as the owners or the GMs or whatever the case may be. That's an opportunity for us to say, we've provided you with some unfair advantages. We've provided you with the ability to earn an amazing living. But I will trade you appointments from the BDC to appointments that you create on your own in a given day. So if you want to earn your way into the, call it free appointments, you have to create one your own every single day, which then holds that accountability for follow-up in the CRM, staying in contact with our buyers and owners, calling every 90 days, updating their data records, advising people that we love to buy cars from our local market and so on. But that's a missing piece for a lot of organizations where the associates don't have to do those things.
Nobody knows how to prospect anymore.
Right.
You know, I teach the master class on prospecting. I will challenge anybody to out prospect me. Anybody. I'll walk out of any dealership in the country and just go out in a community where I've never been before. And if it's not a Sunday, not a holiday, good weather, I'll sell a car to a stranger before the sun sets.
Sure.
Any market, I can sell a car in an elevator.
Right.
I mean, it amazes me. Nobody thinks that way anymore, Eric. And you're getting your associates to generate their own one piece of business a day.
Correct.
People say, Ziegler, where do you find customers? Try the interstate at 5 o'clock. They're out there bumper to bumper.
Right. Well, the truth of it is this. We always, the complaint is always we need more leads. We need more opportunities. But your average store has, call it 30, 40, 50,000 records in the CRM. Sales associate.
40, 50,000 records, dead leads, dead opportunities.
I mean, but I'm saying just total records, period. Like people that have done business with us, people that have only been in for service, whatever the case may be. And then when you look at how that's allocated across associates, each associate might have 500, 600, maybe 1,000, maybe 1,500, of which they click their way through saying completed, completed, completed. So what about the other, if you had 10,000 people that were covered and 30,000 in your record, what about the 20,000 orphans that have no one following up with them ever? I mean, there's never a shortage of places that we can't go. We just have to have
Wait a minute now, orphans. Who's got possession of the orphans? Management. I mean, management really has possession. Most dealerships don't allow the salespeople to root through the records. I mean, the management's going to have to serve up the orphans, and that's been my complaint with a lot of dealerships, is we don't reassign the orphans when somebody leaves.
Oh, right.
Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense.
Why is management? Management. What are we? Are you desk people? Or are you managers? Are you supervisors? Managers don't you got 3 job descriptions. You're a supervisor, you're a manager, and you're a leader. You got 3 things you're supposed to do: supervise, manage, lead. So you're a great desk manager. Now you want to be a general sales manager? Quit it. You haven't got the skills.
Right. We believe that in addition to providing an ROI, which is our jobs, that we manage activities and we remove excuses. That's it.
Remove excuses.
Correct. Did you X, Y, Z? Well, see, I left a message. Or, well, see, they wouldn't X, Y, or Z. How many calls did you make today? 45, boss. My fingers are bloody and numb. And, really, you made 45 phone calls today. Okay, great. How many return phone calls did you get? None. Okay, so either A,
you left a message, but I left a message.
What type of voicemail did you leave?
Did you call at the same time every day to the same person?
Exactly.
They're obviously not there then.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
You and I think so much alike. Hey, Stephen Stassi just showed up. Randy Tucker says, ask Eric what percentage of your total sales volume originated with the content through the internet.
Oh, that's well in excess of 70, 75%. Well in excess.
75% of your business comes in through the internet.
Absolutely, yes. And I would say that is probably a little low. You and I have had discussions before about if we wanted to go through the brain damage of going to the attribution models and all the other kind of stuff. I know. We don't want to do that. But I would just share with you that the truth of it is, with very rare exception, who have we not targeted, captivated, and or led down a particular path through some kind of digital interaction? So, when people go, oh, that's unbelievable. Well, our stores are positioned in such a way that, Jim, we don't necessarily have the walk-in business like some organizations do, some regions do. Our stores are primarily in California, Arizona, Nevada. And while we get some walk-in business, it is nothing like it is in some parts of the country. And if we had that type of gift, because you don't know they're coming, right?
No.
We build our business based on what we know. How many sales associates, how many working days, how many created appointments per person per day, how many, right? And so we can ultimately get ourselves down to where we know exactly what we're going to sell on the first day of the month for that entire month across all 22 stores.
22 stores. Amazing. Here's a company, Cardinale, on the ropes in 2008, 2009, roper doper, we might make it, we might go under, all of a sudden, now you're the biggest internet entity in the world. I mean, you're selling more cars, pure internet than anybody.
Sure.
And, we still think processes. You mentioned CRM earlier.
Yeah.
How important is the CRM in your game plan?
Well, it's so important that it's a relationship changer. We have non-negotiables in our group. I'm sure you can appreciate that. The first and foremost non-negotiable is the CRM is the nucleus, period. If it's not in the CRM, it doesn't exist. And everybody says it, but very few people actually hold the accountabilities to where that is a part of your job description. Mm-hmm. It is, if you will not embrace the CRM, we do not have a future together at all, period. We live inside the CRM all day, every single day. That's the place that we hold our accountabilities. That's where we're able to see and produce the predictive analytics that say, based on our performance now, this is what we're going to do this month. And if we don't like the number, we know where to go to change that. But people that have no idea, that literally are saying, oh, the CRM is for the, the internet people use the CRM, but the floor, they can use sticky notes.
Eric.
I know. No. I know.
No, I created a phrase 10 years ago that's taken off in the industry. I said, you marry your CRM.
Mm-hmm.
And when I went into Motor Works in Barrington, Illinois.
Sure. Yeah.
And I mean, we're talking 500 Highlines a month.
Right.
I mean, these guys were doing $4,500 a car on 500 Highline Mercedes, Porsche, the cream, football field size showroom. I mean, so I go in there and I was sort of, Paul Tamraz hired me, and they've sold that store since. And I'm thinking, my God, how am I going to improve this perfect machine?
Right.
And the one thing that I did is I got all the managers together and we solidified the sales process. That improved it.
Right.
But more so, I said, the CRM was a proprietary CRM.
Sure.
And I said, we will not, what don't we use in the CRM and what do we use?
Right.
And the one thing that I did, and whatever we used in the CRM, we left in. And what we didn't use, we had them program it out.
Right.
And then the next thing, what about old Joe there? Old Joe, oh, that's old Joe. He can't use the CRM. He's old Joe. No, old Joe can't stay here.
Correct.
Yeah. If you can't use the CRM, we've taken out anything we're not using.
Correct.
And I would bet you, I don't know your CRM. I know the Cardinale group and I know your mindset. I would bet right now that there is nothing in your CRM you're not using.
The CRMs are so vast now that the truth of it is we do have to go through and we have to streamline things, because if you get lost in it, there's so much in there that if you tried to use it all, you'd end up literally occupying all of your time busy being busy. So we've gotten it down to some very specific pieces and parts.
Mm-hmm.
But Jim, the part about the accountabilities is everybody says it. Everybody says, oh, you got to use the CRM. How about some real basic math? Okay. Be the owner, be the GM, be a market president, be a GSM. Okay. And say, today I'm opening the store and I have 18 associates on today. How many appointments are going to be created today? By the end of the day, if I have 18 people on today, and most will say, I don't know. I mean, let's see how it goes. And the truth of it is, if we have a number of 1 per person per working day, then we would say it's 18 by the end of the day. It's simple math.
Now, wait a minute, Eric, did a manager just say to you, I don't know?
Oh, I'm not to us, but I'm sharing with you that, yeah, not to us. But my point is, when you ask people,
one of my favorite things as a senior manager was I used to say, let me see your business card.
Right.
Look at that. Somebody wrote manager on your card. Get your ass out there and be one.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody wrote salesperson on your card, get out there and be one.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so managers telling you, I don't know. I mean,
I'm just sharing with you what happens below the line. We want to say yes, but we really don't know. More often than not, the biggest challenge that we face is right here. It's getting out of our own head. We're our own greatest obstacle, right? I'm busy being busy. I'm busy trying to correct the things that I should have worked on the prior day that have now bled over into today. So I'm too busy to do a 5-minute meeting or a 10-minute meeting with the team when they first arrive. Too busy to go around and hold people accountable. I'm too busy to do these things. Well, if that is in fact the case, then you have to stop and reverse engineer why. What steps am I missing that caused the delays from the prior day to bleed into today? And if I eliminate those, am I better off being a great trainer and coach and leader for our teams to be able to actually achieve the results that we believe they can? We don't come up with stuff, Jim, just because we've read a book, right? The truth of it is we reverse engineer a thing down to things that are absolutely achievable, but what they're not is something that can be watered down. So
leader, supervisor, manager.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure.
Leader, supervisor, manager. You got 3 hats you wear.
Right.
And some managers are stuck in one hat and they don't wear the other 2.
Right.
Leader, supervisor, manager. I mean,
sure.
What do you do? So, we don't have a knowing problem. We have a doing problem. I think you've heard me say that.
Yeah.
I believe that.
Sure.
A lot of people know what to do, but they're not doing it.
Yeah.
And in the Cardinale group, I get that you are so process driven that you do what you say you do.
Well, part of that, think about the fact that we're human just like anybody else. Disciplines are exhaustible. Let's just agree with that. Okay. As much as I would love to tell you that we are built out of titanium and that we can run through bricks and we can do it 365 days a year, I'd love to tell you that we can do that. And I think by and large as an organization, that's absolutely true. However, in those 365 days, there's times when you're not at 100%. However, when you've put in place daily accountabilities, things that you're asking of other people to deliver, you're accountable because you asked them to do it, and you can't not deliver on that yourself. So the truth of it is, this 360 accountability is beautiful because everyone understands that if we're all at a particular level or over a particular line, on the days when we may be tired for whatever reason, I mean, we are human, okay? We're still far better off than had we never done it in the first place, right? So
that's the beauty of what I hear. Now, you're speaking at Internet Battle Plan in 10 days. 10 days.
Yeah.
Coming to Atlanta, Marriott Marquis downtown, September 9th and 10th. Cocktail reception the first night. You Miss Debbie does it right with the food. It's going to be, we got Dano Blenkowski, the party animal. Don't call him a DJ. I mean, okay. We 20 speakers in 2 days, including you've got an extra 15 minutes on your speech because you're Erich Gale. I mean, more than
you're very gracious, Jim. I appreciate it.
Yeah, the audience, you're the only speaker that the audience actually stands up and cheers for when you're at my events. It's, I just love having Erich Gale on stage because you've always got something new. I've got the 2 divas. I've got Bobby Heron and I've got Elise Kephart, the YouTube diva and the BDC diva.
Right.
We've got 20 speakers. It's incredible. The people from Dealer Teamwork are there. We've got 3 agencies, 3 digital marketing agencies, and every one of them's got a different SEO approach, a different slant on things. We've got True Cars back, Carrie Wise, and you've heard Carrie speak any number of times.
Sure.
So many dealers today, and one thing I'm hearing, and I've been on, I'm on the phones 100 outbound calls a day. I'm a one-man BDC selling Battle Plan.
Right.
One thing you've heard me say, and it's incredible. I'll call these dealers and they'll say, well, Jim, I'd like to send my people, but business is slow. I can't send in I need to keep them in the store to answer the phones that aren't ringing and the leads that aren't coming in.
Right.
I need them here in the dealership to manage the business we're not getting.
Correct.
But I'm not going to train them to do any more than they're now doing.
Right.
So I get so much of that attitude. We've got to keep them in the store. Okay, yeah. If you got no customers, let's get them out of the store. So anyway, internetbattleplan.com. Somebody put that on the sidebar for me, Randy or Bill. Internetbattleplan.com. Erich, now, do you share the Cardinale way with other dealers?
We do.
How do you do that?
Well, we do it in two ways. When we were blessed with our second lease on life back in 2010, we didn't know what we didn't know. And that is a very empowering reality if you have the courage to embrace it. Okay. So often our egos say that because we have big, long titles that we're supposed to have all the answers. And the truth of it is we just have to have a lot of questions. And we were blessed to be able to have the opportunity to work with dealers in 2010, 2011, 2012, who were so gracious with us because they said, this is why you fell into the abyss in 08 and 09. Do more of this, less of this, find out who you are, what's your purpose, what's your why, what's your accountabilities, and so on. So the truth of it is, as we grew up and we invested in ourselves and we held those accountabilities, we realized that we were onto something. And so we created an organization called ZMOT, which stands for the Zero Moment of Truth. But the reality of it is this. It's a manifestation of how we do business inside of our stores, the accountabilities that we hold in our stores. And so the engagement and the relationship with that company allows us, Jim, to do a couple of things. It allows us to be able to work with dealers outside of our competing market areas, give them all of the insights into how we do business inside of our stores, and hold the accountabilities while helping them manage their digital investment. And we do that in a very particular fashion, and one that I think as an organization we're very proud of. And it's that we will only work with one owner, one group, one singular owner, regardless of brand or quantity of stores. We will only work with one owner in a particular market.
Okay, let
the
me
entire market.
Down a bit.
Okay.
We got the Cardinale group.
Right.
Number one internet entity in the business, undisputed, documented. Sure. The numbers are there. Don't even contest it. Okay, we got the Cardinale group, the big dog. You are willing to go and I guess you're training, you're measuring, you're implementing, you're consulting, you're advising other dealers, one to a market, how to do
one to a market. Correct.
How to do what you do.
Correct. Yes.
And what's your success? I know, and I'm going to predict that every dealer in the world is not up to it.
No. I would say that in the last number of years, our success threshold has increased tremendously as opposed to, say, the early years. And the reason for that is because as dealers, we all love the next new shiny widget, the next greatest thing, and we all want to be a part of it. And I would say that as an organization, we're very positive people. We always look for the best in people. We always want people to see themselves bigger. We want to see them bigger than they see themselves. And so in the early years, we would let people know that they can achieve these things. And many of them didn't necessarily have the courage to do it. And so now what we find ourselves doing is we spend more time trying to disqualify than qualify, if that makes sense. We want to let people know that if you really want it bad enough, like anything in life, if you really want it bad enough and you're ready to embrace a guide and a partner, right, then we should have another conversation. And so in the last 2.5 years, something that's very humbling for us, because we never disclose who we work with. It's not about us, right? It's about the dealer themselves, and we don't want anybody to know that that's their unfair advantage. But it's nice in a challenged market when a lot of the people that we serve are up 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12% year over year, and others are struggling. Now, I will tell you that I share that with you, that where I say it's humbling and it's amazing. We didn't do it.
No,
we didn't do it. They did all the work. It's just nice when someone said, I'm ready. I'm ready. Hold me accountable. Teach me how to do it. I promise I'll do it. And they actually did it. It's beautiful when they're able to achieve those kinds of results because, Jim, they've earned that. It's not about us.
How many times have I gone in a dealership and I get them what I call the mutineers, the people that want to keep the status quo.
Sure.
They want to stay the way they were, and they'll come up to me and say, "Well, Mr. Ziegler, let me tell you how we like to do it." Well, they didn't bring me here because they like that. I'm not here because your dealer likes that, And I tell a general manager, look, let me get something. You and I are not competitors. I don't want your job. I have a job.
Right.
And winning people over at the top level, people say you need the salespeople's buy-in. You really don't need the salespeople's buy-in. You need the management buy-in. The salespeople will buy in when they see the results, when they feel the results, when they economically participate in the results, and they see the energy level and the enthusiasm go up in the dealership.
Right.
So there are people that the ZMOT is not right for because they're not committed enough. They won't do it.
Yeah.
And there's other people that really will.
Yeah. We're not looking to try to be all things to all people. We have no desire whatsoever to be, we're blessed with wonderful groups that we work with from coast to coast and all the way up into Canada. And it's been wonderful. But we're in the relationship business first and foremost. We don't need big quantities of people and all this other kind of stuff. I'd rather have a legion of people that are fiercely committed and gracious and have the courage to be able to want to achieve excellence and are looking for a guide than to try to have just a bunch of...
How do they get in touch with ZMOT? I mean, if they don't have to wait till battle plan, how can they get in touch with you? If they wanted to talk to you about it right now, how would they do that?
Well, I like very much to initiate a lot of those relationships because, quite frankly, in about 5 or 10 minutes, I can ascertain whether or not we're a fit. So I'm happy to give you my email address if you want to put it on the screen. It's EGAIL at Cardinale, which is CARDINALE -group.com. And that is comes straight to me.
Okay, hyphen, is that like a dash?
That would be a dash, yes.
Hyphen, yeah. Hey, look, I'm a high school graduate, man. I'm not totally dumb. Is that it?
That is it. Thank you, sir.
Okay. So they can send you an email at that address, eGail at Cardinale group.com. Yeah, they can do that. So anyway, Internet Battle Plan, what are you going to speak about?
Well, things we want to share in September are the fact that we literally are, Jim, now at the point where we're going to go into the fourth quarter. 2019 will be over at that point. No different than when people say, I've had a really slow week. Today, the phones weren't ringing. Well, those decisions were made a month ago, or those decisions to create appointments for this weekend were created days before. So my point is 2020 is coming. And what we're going to share in Atlanta in September is what do we do to take full advantage, whether we liked it or not, what do we do to take full advantage of the things that we've learned in 2019 to ensure that we outperform in 2020? And remember, let challenges be someone else's, not your own. It's a decision to say we are not going to go backwards. We're not ceding just because the market has some constriction to it. It's going to purify itself. Let it purify somewhere else. Don't let it happen inside your stores. And there is the ability to do that.
There is that ability. Yeah, I've always seen where people could create your own business. There is business out there. There is somebody's buying even in the worst months of the worst years we've had in the last 20. We still sold 10 million cars.
Yeah. Well, there were groups, Jim, that when we were literally hemorrhaging out, there were groups that were what we aspire to be. We just didn't know it then. There were groups that went on acquisition sprees in 08 and 09. There are groups that had the biggest years in their histories in 08 and 09 while everyone else was on fire. They grew. They had their biggest nets. And I was fascinated to sit with them 7-8 years ago and to learn how they did it, and have spent all these years since then to help work with our teams to create that kind of an environment to where let the challenges come. Just ensure that those challenges are someone else's, not ours.
Well, I've always watched the winners.
Yeah.
Watch the winners. Success leaves clues.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
Success leaves clues. If you pay attention, I always watch the people that are winning. And it amazes me, like, multi-level marketing. I'm not generally a fan of multi-level marketing because I tell people all the time, why would you take advice on how to be a millionaire from somebody that doesn't have any money?
Right. Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Excuse me. Success leaves clues. Seek out role models, mentors, the very best of them.
Well, that's why we built our organization the way that we did, and that's why we, as a leadership group, decided that we were going to take our ideas. We were going to take the pain that we had gone through. We were going to take our second lease on life, our in-store disciplines and accountabilities, the integration of our marketing. We were going to take that outside of our group, because the truth of it is, no one else existed in the market that actually lived what they do.
No,
we ask people, Jim, to do things that, quite frankly, we should all do. But we don't ask people to do things that we don't hinge our entire future on ourselves. So it's not do this because we said so, do this because I read a book. No, do this because inside our stores and other stores like ours, this is what ensures success day in and day out in a clonable and repeatable fashion.
Clonable and repeatable. Yes. Let me tell you, I have an exercise when I go in a dealership or a 20 group, or when I'm speaking to dealers. I'll say, let me ask you a question. How many people in this room teach your salespeople when they greet a customer to say, welcome to the dealership, or something similar to that?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Well, everybody, we do.
Right.
We do.
Yeah.
Okay. I will bet you $300. I go to ATM and make a bigger bet. How big a bet do you want to make?
Right.
That I can catch one of your salespeople saying something other than welcome. Oh, no, I'm not going to take that bet.
Right.
Okay. Now let me use some logic. You can't get them to say welcome. So can I assume they're not doing the complicated things?
Right. Right. Exactly.
You can't even get them to say welcome. You think they're doing your processes?
Right. Right.
It's crazy. I mean, not that I'd need them to say welcome, but if I teach welcome, they're going to say welcome.
Yeah. Well, we believe that in this day and age, when everyone is family owned and operated, and everybody is the number one in the market, and everybody, what the differentiator is what? The differentiator is, what is your in-store experience? What is the relationship with your store? Look, if I want to buy a domestic or an import or a luxury car, I'm going to identify with a brand. But how do I identify with a specific store? The entrepreneurial heartbeat of an individual store versus another. And how that's done is in our culture it's called the guest in the home experience, right? Mm-hmm. You should be cared for as if you were coming over to our home and spending an afternoon or an evening.
Yes, you should.
And if you have to teach people that, to be kind, to welcome them, to pull chairs out, yes, sir, yes, ma'am, to bring their car up front, to have the name placed on the car before they arrive, sometimes we have conversations with people and they go, why would I do that? And I say, why wouldn't you? I mean, if you're just like everyone else, what is the differentiator? But there's when I know that
there's no humanizing in the experience.
Yeah.
You know, I see salespeople, they walk out on the lot. Hi, welcome to the dealership. What's your budget?
Right.
You know, I mean,
my budget is thanks. I appreciate it. And
let's talk business right now. I mean, they don't humanize themselves. They don't humanize the experience.
Right.
The managers, everybody in dealership walks around looking pissed off with those Bart Simpson faces. Nobody looks happy.
Jim, one of the things that is one of our biggest challenges, I shared with you before that it's about getting out of our own head. I think that we're all guilty of the following statement. We have forgotten in 5, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50-year careers, we have forgotten that while it's grease marks on a sales board in an office that nobody ever goes to, that every time we deliver a car, every single time, that is an amazing moment for someone that they started some weeks, some months prior to in their own mind. And if they come to one of our stores and we earn that right to be able to care for them, to help them finish what they started, that when they're done, they're going to have this close the door, wave through the window, thank you so much, and they're going to adjust the mirror and they're going to have this, I did it, right? That amazing moment is something that we're blessed to be a part of. And I think we forget that. And if we know that that's the end result of what people really want, and we start treating people in the very beginning with that being the end, we can help ourselves get there just in such a better way.
One of my very best friends was Irving Silver.
Okay.
Irving was the #1 Jaguar salesman in history. Sold 837 new Jaguars in 2 years. I still have the trophy. After he died, I still have the trophy in my garage where they're given to him by Jaguar.
When was this, by the way? Because that may have been more Jaguars than were sold in the U.S. during that period.
No, this was in 82, 83.
I'm just kidding.
No, this was
a long time when Jaguars were just so limited in volume. Oh, that's a lot. That's amazing.
He was the #1, get this, Nash Rambler salesman in history.
Mm-hmm.
And he was in his 90s when he died 7 years ago. I saw him last at the hospice. And even in the hospice,
right,
he was dying. And the doctor came in, was looking at him, and he was frail. And he said, "What do you drive, Doc?"
Right.
And I asked Irving, "How did you set records?"
Sure.
And he said, "I was memorable."
Yeah.
Now is that what you're talking about?
Sure. But memorable more than just individual, memorable from an experience that people say, okay, maybe I came to the store. Maybe for whatever reason, I wasn't prepared to commit on that day. And I'm literally just making this up. But if we treat people when they're our guest and we remind them that you're our guest and that it's our privilege to be of service to you, and they go somewhere else and get something that is totally contrary to what we just did, what do you think's eating away in the back of their mind? Is
the entire company is memorable.
Right. Exactly.
The experience is memorable.
Yeah. So agreed. 100%.
Being memorable is what I did in my career, what you did in your career, what you do as a company.
Yeah.
So many people today are not memorable. They're not. These people came. A car is a signification that something is changing in their life.
Right. Yeah.
This is an event.
Yes.
And it might be this old beater you got out on the lot, but it's better than the beater they drove in.
Well, right. Every time that and I think this is the part where I was saying before, I think we've lost this, is we're too institutionalized. But you ask any manager or GM or owner who's on a demo plan or whatever the case may be, that when they get another car, and these are people who are in the business all the time, they get another one, every time it's the first time they're in it, they're always like, this is really cool.
I just got an Audi Q7.
Oh, good for you.
I just got
Wait a minute, Jim. We have 2 Audi stores and you didn't call me?
No, I didn't.
Well, we're a little farther away. So
well,
now we would have delivered it.
I did business with one of my dealers that's local that I also do business with. So
it's fine.
Yeah. But anyway, it's the first import I've ever owned in my life.
Yeah, you've always been a Lincoln guy, haven't you?
Lincolns and Cadillacs. I've had Escalades, town cars, and Corvettes since the GTO days. And I had Dodge Super Bee way back when, but you know, mostly Lincoln town cars. And they stopped making town cars. I went into Escalades and then, you know, my God, Corvettes, I've had, I don't know how many Corvettes. And I was waiting for the Lincoln Aviator to come out, and they had production delays on it twice. And I got tired of waiting for the Aviator. I went out and bought an import.
Well, good for you. Mix it up a little bit, right?
I called Mark LeNave at home.
I know. Sure. Yeah.
National Marketing
He's the head of sales
Ford.
For Ford. Yeah.
Yeah. I called him at home. I said, Mark, you know, I know you were going to get me an Aviator, but you've had production delays. I bought an import. He said, Jim, you know, I'm sorry. You know, Mark, we've been friends for a long time. I called you at home on a Saturday. I bought a Q7 Audi.
Sure.
He said, you made a good choice. You made a good choice.
It's a great car. And it isn't just because we're an Audi dealer. The truth of it is, we're not a Lincoln dealer, but I would say that of what I've seen thus far of the Aviator that's coming, it looks very impressive. I realize that, you know, they had production delays and whatever the case may be, so be it. But I think when that comes to market, it'll be great.
But what you were talking about, who's excited?
Exactly. And you've been in the business all these years and you're excited. And you should be. And this is where the truth of it is, Jim, this is where we as an industry, this is where we get a little bit of a pass. Because a lot of times people will come into our stores and they can receive an okay experience, but it's because they're more excited about the end than they are about the things that happen along the way. So when we get to the end, it's, well, where'd you get it from? Oh, they were over on such and such a street. Like they don't remember, right? No. Unless they look at their license plate frame. But we still sold the car, so we're great. And the truth of it is, we can turn people into raving fans. We just have to earn that right and recognize that with each one of these relationships, it's an opportunity to grow that relationship, not only within their circle, but through repeat and referral business as well.
Fantastic. We're almost down to God, we're going over.
Yeah, we are.
Time. Hey, let me close it out. Internet Battle Plan coming up in 10 days, the 9th and the 10th. Going to be in Atlanta, Marriott Marquis, 20 top expert speakers, including Erich. I mean, my gosh, the website, www.internetbattleplan.com. Now, here's the rub. The hotel room discount closes out Friday, 2 days. You got 2 days to sign up. Go to the website right now. Dealers and general managers, no charge. Decision makers, no charge, because I want you to go with your employees and hear what they heard, see what they learned. Internet Battle Plan, nothing like it. The very best boutique conference in the industry, not just because I say so, because a lot of other people say so. My good friend Erich Gale, the Cardinale Group, his email is on the screen. If you have a question about the broadcast or you're thinking about hiring ZMOT and bring these guys in to help your dealership grow to another level, there's his email right there. And it's not automatic. He's not automatically going to accept you, even if you want to throw money at him. I mean, if he can't help you and you can't respond, he's not going to take you. So anyway, Internet Battle Plan, my good friend Erich Gale. Erich, thank you.
Thank you, Jim, so much. Give my best, please, to Debbie, and we'll see you in 10 days, I think.
Right. She's upstairs cooking steak tonight.
Very good.
Take care.
Jim, thanks again so much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.